This year has been a very good year. I'm saying it has been a very good year because this year I celebrated my 40th birthday. I don't know whether I look 40 or I look 50 or I look 30. It's not my preoccupation. But one day I will make sure I define that clearly. But there's something that I want to talk to you about, especially when it comes to you becoming who you want to become. I want us to focus more on how to get from where you are to where you want to be. That is my message today. And this message stems out of a lot of reflection over the past days as we are going towards the end of the year. And yesterday I just calculated that I'm 40 years, 8 months and 14 days. I will not count the hours. So when I was reflecting, I had to go back to the 4th of January when I was turning 40 years. And a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, who was turning 40 on Friday, bought me something that really changed my life. And the first thing, she bought me 3 books. I'm still to read the 3rd book because it's a book that is challenging me to come out of my comfort zone. It's a fiction. I've never read a fiction book, but the few pages that I've read have helped me to at least ignite my imagination and my creativity. So I'll read that book. But she bought me this book called Betting on a Ducky. What is important is the message inside. It says, Joe, this is to reignite your faith in your own race. Prove that we are not beyond redemption. That is the first book that she bought me. And I've managed to read the whole book. And when I was reading this book, it really taught me a lot. Especially, it taught me something that I want to talk about today. Liberating yourself from your degree. When you read this book, you realize that an engineer moves from engineering into doing other things beyond engineering. Most of us are preoccupied with finding a job that goes with our qualification. We disregard a lot of things around us. We disregard our passion. We disregard our strength. We disregard our habits. We disregard everything around us, and we concentrate on one aspect, which is a qualification. And if you want to move from where you are to where you want to go, you need to liberate yourself from your degree. And when you read this book, you will get something along those lines. And I'll go deeper later on to try and show you how I have liberated myself from my degree. Then there was this other book. It's called The Making of a Billion-Dollar Athlete, LeBron Inc. The message is, they say the future belongs to the daring, those who continuously reinvent themselves. So here is from one goat to another. Hope you pick a few lessons from him. Love, Lebogang June Pila, 2020. So this friend of mine is called Lebogang June Pila. She bought me these 2 books. And when I was reading all these books, I came to realize one thing. That when you want something, you put your everything to achieve that thing that you want. if you truly are looking to move from a place where you are to a place where you want to be, you firstly need to focus. Focus on what you are looking for. And focus alone will not take you there. You need to be intentional on what exactly you want to achieve. Intentionality and focus, they go hand in hand in helping you to achieve what you want to be. Thirdly, you need to be disciplined. You cannot achieve anything without discipline. If you don't want to be mediocre, you need to be disciplined in everything that you want to do. If you want to liberate yourself from your degree, you need to be disciplined in whatever art or in whatever you are going to put your mind into. And that thing has to be in line with your purpose. For you to achieve it, it has to be in line with your purpose. When you read LeBron James, you come to realize that this guy had a vision. He wanted something. He was talented. He was passionate about basketball. But he realized that basketball is not the end. It's a means to an end. He can use it to achieve what he wants. And as I was reading this book, it reminded me the days that I decided to become a social worker. I'm not sure whether it was a coincidence, it was an accident, or it was a risk for me to take social work. I was just walking along the dusty streets of Otse, reflecting on my life, because by then I was working as a temporary teacher at Baitlutli Junior Secondary School. What preoccupied my mind was the fact that those guys who were on contracts, their contracts were not renewed. And I was asking myself, if the following year, am I going to be in the same predicament as them because of the contract issues? I was lost in thoughts trying to come up with ways of how I'm going to figure out my life. And as I was walking, a car stopped for me. I got into the car. Fortunately, there was a Catholic nun there. We had a chat as we were going from Otse to Ramotswa. And then I asked the nun, "What are you doing?" She said, actually, I said to her, "Why are you always taking these boys that are naughty from school?" And she said, "Oh, no, that juvenile delinquents." And I said, "What is that?" She started explaining everything, and she told me that she's a social worker. And I realized from that moment that social work and priesthood, because I wanted to become a Catholic priest and I could not become a Catholic priest. So now I could see that priesthood and social work were more related. It was about helping people. It was about changing people's lives. And I said to myself, I think I want to do this. And I continued. I applied to the University of Botswana. I was admitted for social work. I started my social work in 2004 and finished in 2008. And that was my bachelor's degree. And I started working for the local authority based Kotlokweng for 6 years. In the 6 years that I was working, I told myself that I don't want to be remembered as that social worker who worked co-counseling. I wanted to go somewhere. I wanted to push further. I wanted to liberate myself from my degree. And I looked at social work in totality and I said, what can I do in this profession with many faces? I decided to start other things within the profession. I used my techniques and skills and the expertise in social work to try and move away from your ordinary social work to a point where now when people see me on TV, they never relate me to social work. I worked very hard to create a brand that you are currently seeing. I said to myself, I don't just want to be a social welfare officer. I want to be a complete social worker who is not going to do your day-to-day social welfare issues. I want to branch in other things. I took motivation. I said, this is what I'm going to run with. I took training. I said, this is what I'm going to run with. I took life coaching. This is what I'm going to run with. Because I did not want to be defined with a certificate of social work. And later on, I moved on, and now I'm now producing content for television. I have TV shows that are running currently, and others are going to be on TV very soon. Because I did not want to be defined as that social worker who was good and only in one area. I did not want to define myself with social welfare. I wanted to define myself with changing people's lives. I wanted to liberate myself from my degree, even though I'm still doing the same thing, but I dissected the profession and picked the things that I could see they will work for me. As you are sitting now, wherever you are, looking at your degree, I'm saying to you, go back and ask yourself, what is my strength? What is my passion? So if you can get your strength, if you can get your passion, and then look at what you have done at school, try to match those things and see what you can come up with. Don't just sit and wait for somebody to tell you that you can do things. If you are not going to start, you'll not achieve it. It is up to you to make a decision that you want to change your life, that you want to move from where you are to a place where you want to be. And you need to be focused, you need to be intentional, you need to be disciplined, and you need to do things that will fulfill and enhance your purpose in this earth. I'm a proud social worker, and I will never say I'm not a social worker. And I will always say I'm a social worker. And I know most of the time, people miss my title. I'm a social worker. Everything else comes after being a social worker. But I've liberated myself from your day-to-day social work. I do it differently. And I want you to liberate yourself from your degree. I want you to liberate yourself from your qualification. Your qualification was meant to help you to think broadly and critically. So degree is to help you to think critically. It is not an end. It is a means to an end. So use it to your own advantage. Don't sit and say, I don't have a degree. Don't sit and say, I don't have a qualification. But you have the strength. You have the potential. You have the capability. So you need to move out of the comfort zone and start doing things that pushes you to get what you want. So this is my short message. I'm not sure whether it's short or not, but I want us to engage on this issue. Let us engage. When you see this video, let us engage. If you want anything, contact me. Let us talk about it. If you want life coaching, come to me. Let us talk about this. I hope this video will help you to become a better person. Have a lovely day. Thank you.